DaVinci Resolve is the industry standard for color grading, and to master it, you must move beyond filters and understand how to manipulate light and color data mathematically. Now, let's first begin by looking at the layout and the node-based workflow. So the first thing I'll do is to go over here at the bottom and click on the color tab. This will take us to the color page. Now I'm using a vertical video, so this might look slightly different from what you have. And I also have actually made some few edits here to the color page. So let's begin by seeing what we have here. So first, this is the stills window, and what we can actually do here is to do things like grab a still from the image, and we can use this to capture our views and use a color editor. So, and also, unlike standard video editors that use layers, Resolve uses nodes. So think of a node like a transparent sheet where you apply one specific change, just one specific change. For example, here our node is going to just be the base with nothing happening, and then it goes on to another node here, which is actually a qualifier. So if I hit delete, if I disable this, so you can actually see the initial shirt was blue, and I'm using a qualifier to make that purple. So to properly rename this node, I'll just right click and I'll just call that a color change. So that's pretty much it. Anything we do on this node is going to affect our video or our image, right? So by chaining these multiple nodes, we can keep, multiple adjustments, all right? We can keep our adjustments also organized. Example, we have one node here for the character change. And if I hit Alt S, I'm going to right click on this node and I'll call this the contrast. And what I quickly can do is to go to the curves here and I'll hit and just change the node's contrast and just bump it up a bit. Right, so you can see we have our nodes organized. I have a base node, a color change node, and I have a contrast node, and I can add hundreds of these, and we can do a lot. We can add one for the skin and one for the lookup. Now in Resolve, we actually have the viewer. Now the viewer is here on the right. If I go to workspace and I go to reset UI layout, and what I'm also going to do is to set this project to use a horizontal view, and this is most likely how your own view is going to be looking like right now. So there are a lot of things we can do to create some space. I'll show you how we can do that. But first, this is our viewer, right? It's at the center, and this shows our footage or our video. If I go to another clip, this is actually a video clip. I can just play that. We can see that's a video clip. And here we can change each still here. So these are our clips. You can have hundreds of these and they are all going to show up here. Just to actually have some space, I like getting rid of the clips. And now you can see we have more space to work with here. All right, we can also get rid of the gallery, which gives us more space to work. And I can drag the viewer and the node view. And this is the node editor. It's usually at the top right here. And this is where we build our grading system, adjust our images, and apply separate effect. At the bottom here, we have our scopes. And these are essential for technical analysis. Now, our second point here is to understand how to read the scopes. And we basically have the waveform and the color parade. So if I go over here to this graph, if I click on this, this is actually the waveform for this image right here. And then we also have this is the parade, sorry, that's the parade. We also have the waveform, which gives us the RGB values as well. Now, the cool thing is, before you trust your eyes, you should trust your scopes, because we have various types of scopes right here. Now, your monitor might be too bright or too dark, or your monitor might have a color tint, but the scopes, they never lie. So first, the waveform. This is going to measure, let's go ahead and change this to waveform like so. And if I click the settings icon, I can change this to see the grayscale value like that. So what does this mean and how can we read this waveform? Now, the waveform measures luminance, and luminate, simply means the brightness. So the bottom here is pure black. Here you can see this is 0, and it goes between 0 and 1024, I think. Sorry, 1023. It's just right here for pure white. So the bottom is black, the top here is pure white. Now, if your trace, which is this chart here, if it hits the top here, that means you're losing detail here. It's getting clipped. So here, where I adjusted that contrast, if I go back to this chart, I can just drag the trace down a bit so that I don't have any pixels that are crushing and going above this 1023 line, right? Like so. I don't want it to go above that. And also at the bottom trace, you don't want this to go beyond this bottom here, or you have some clipping. And that means your blacks are actually going to get lost. Right, so the balance is to have that below the 0 line and below the 1023 luminance line. Now the color parade, if we go over here to the parade, this just shows us the red, green, and blue channels separately. So if, for example, our blue trace is actually is much higher than the others in the white areas, that means this image has a blue color cast. And here we can actually see they are roughly relatively equal. We can go to our charts, select our blue, and begin to just drag that or push it up so that it adjusts or matches with the other channels. So we can use the graph here, the curves, to adjust that. All right, so let's take a look at the primary color wheels. So if I go over here and I click the color wheels, these are our primary color wheels. And I'll just drag this a bit to the right and zoom in like so on our subject, so we can just look this. Now, these are the bread and butter for primary correction. And basically that means adjusting the entire image. Now, Resolve comes with the primary color wheels for the lift, the gamma, gain, and then the offset. Now, the lift, what it does is to adjust the shadows, and the lift is going to be responsible for adjusting the darkest parts. So let's play around with the lift and see. So I'll just go over here and I'll drag this bar, and you can see when I'm playing around with the lift, it's actually pushing the shadows. So I'm just pushing this down a bit, making sure it's, if I go back to the waveform, we don't want this to be beyond 0 like that, or else we're going to get some super clipping and losing some of that detail. Right. So the gamma is going to adjust the midtones, and this is basically where the skin tones live. So if I go over here to the gamma and I begin to adjust this, you can actually see she's getting more paler like that, like so. So midtones is going to be responsible for, solving skin issues. Right. So next we actually have the gain, and this adjusts the bright parts of the image. So here where we have the subsurface scattering on the hair, if we drag this, we can adjust the highlights. So in case it's super bright, we could just dial that down a bit so that we have that within range and we don't have any clipping here. And finally, we have the offset. Now, the offset is going to shift the entire image's color and brightness at once. So we can actually use this to quickly fix your white balance. So, and what is white balance? So white balance just tells you what is the color white in your images. That's what the white balance actually does. So let's go ahead and move over to secondary color correction, because the wheels are good for primary color correction. Let's also look at the wheels for secondary color correction. Now, the most important one here is the qualifier. And basically, if you only want to change a specific thing in an image, let's say, for example, this dress, if we wanted to change it to another color, if I disable this node, I actually used a qualifier on this node here, the one we called color changer. If we disable that, this qualifier was used to change this from this color. That's basically what the qualifier node actually does, right? And it selects basically a hue range. So for example, you can see it has an eyedropper here. If I select this, like so, just select this range, I can now go back to my color wheels and I can just begin to adjust that to make changes to the fabric to any hue or any color we actually want. All right, that's how we basically use it. Now, something that's also important is the power window. So let's go over to the power window and tracking. And in this example, what we can actually do is to use create a mask around a specific region and have that effect only affect that specific region. So for example, if I create a, let's go over here to our nodes. I'll hit Alt S to create a serial. I'll right click and I'll call that face retouch, like so, because I want to just retouch the face area. If I add a circle mask, like so, I could just resize that to just the face area. Just place the 0 with the face, and I can drag these edges here to make sure I have an oval shape that's just around the face like that. Just push that a little bit, and I'll just push the softness. And what I can do over here is to go to the color wheels, and I'll just push this slightly up like that. And you can see it's making the face a bit warmer. So if I hit Control D to disable that, you can actually see how the face is looking now, like that. So warm, and cold, like that. And any effect I have, if I go over here to the saturation, or I just want to cool it off a bit, I can just add more of that, and you can see how the face is. So basically, our power windows creates an editable mask like that, and we can invert the mask. If we go back to our power windows and I click on this, it's going to invert the entire image, and we can actually see the effects now. It's making everything else cool, but leaving the subject's face alone, right? So that's what we have there, and that's how the power windows work. For tracking, if we had a subject that's moving, that's going to be this cursor icon right here. And tracking is basically going to track a mask, especially for a moving subject, right? So if we place this tracker, let's say, for example, we have this tracker here, and we actually tell it to track forward, it's actually looking at this model's face. And because I have this power window with the tracker, if this model was moving around, it's going to track her face forwards and backwards. So in case her head is tilting, the tracker is going to make sure that this effect is applied to this face. Now we have other tools here like the blur. So for example, if I wanted to just blur out the background, if I create a new node, I'll hit Alt S and I'll right click that node and I'll call that blur. And what I'll do is to use a power window on this entire image, like so. So I'll zoom out a bit, make sure we're on the blur node. I'll create a power window, create a selection like that, just drag that, and then push that around the subject to make sure I'm isolating the subject. Add a little bit of softness like so to have a nice little fall off, and I'll invert this. So next, because I've inverted that, I'll go to our blur here, and I'll click on this tool and I'll push this up, and you can see what it's doing here. It's really pushing the subject, and we can just see the subject. So if I turn off the blur, hitting Control D, that's with blur, that's without the blur. It's basically focusing more on the subject. And we can go back to our power window and increase the softness area. So we actually have that blur affecting our image like that. So these are ways we can actually enhance our image. And one thing about the color window is each time you create a node and you make any changes, you notice there's a little red dot around. Here we change the color and we use the qualifier node. It's just showing us what's happening there. And then finally, let's talk about balance. Although you've seen me use this, if I create a new node, I right click and I call that balance. So this is going to be a primary color correction. We can go over to our curves and click on our 3 channels or specific channels, and we can create points here on this curve and enhance some certain sections of our image only. So it's basically like using the hue wheels, the color wheels here, but this time around you have a curve that gives you that information and it affects the entire output. All right. So, and finally, to create a look, if I create another node and I right click on that and I call that a look, this is basically where we can color grade and give our image a specific type of style or look. We can decide to make this image a warm image like that, make our shadows slightly cool, and then make our, gain slightly warm like that. And you can see it gives our image an entirely different look. And basically, I really like this look. I think I'll push in the mid-tones, the skin tones. I'll push that slightly towards warm like that. And this is a creative, stylish look we have created here in our image. Now, this is going to be without our look, and this is going to be with our look. So I hope you can see how the look works. And each time we're doing this, let's make sure we're looking at our chart to make sure we're not messing things up. So in case we want to bring back some of that, we can go in here in the graph and then try to adjust this and bring back some of that detail we might be losing. Right. So that's the thing about the look. It just makes you have a nice little grade. And what we can do, if we go back to the gallery, we can use the gallery to create a color grade from this project still. So we right click on our image and say grab a still, and now we've actually grabbed this entire setting. So if we have another clip, if I go over here and I go to clips and I click on this clip, what we can do is to apply this. So if I go here, we can apply this grade on this image or this video we actually brought in here, and you can see it's using the same information here. So in case you have multiple images or later on you'd like to use this, you can even export this as a lot and then save that as a DXP file. So let's just call that cute, and I hit export, and we've exported this still. So next time we're using a project, we can bring it in and apply it directly. So a quick summary. Now, there are other tools we haven't used. For example, this one for motion effects, we can turn on temporal noise reduction, change the spatial noise reduction to better, and apply, a better motion blur, but that's going to be for moving videos and clips. And if we had multiple clips, what we can do here is to right click and apply a grade to all our clips and stills using the clip window. Usually when I'm working, I actually turn it off and turn off the gallery so we have more space to work with our creative projects. I'll set this back to a vertical resolution so we can have a much more larger view. And this would actually be better to use this so we can see how things are being set up. So that's going to be it. That's going to be it for a creative, how the color wheels work. So as a cool, quick checklist for balance, we use the color parade, which is this one, our primary color wheels. And we use the parade and the output gain wheels to get a neutral image. For our exposure, we use the waveform. So if I just drag this to the side, for exposure, we use our waveform. For our secondary color grading, we use a qualifier to select a section. For example, we can select the skin only and work with the skin like that. And we can use that for our color grades. And then we can add a final node to create a look, and we can grab that look to use it in our other projects. So I hope that makes sense and that gives you an idea on how the color page works in DaVinci Resolve. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next lesson.